Welcome. I don't know what happened on that.
It's short, man.
That was short. It was a delay.
Bring back that beat, DJ. This for real. This time. Hell, bring it back.
Welcome to the Fourcast, where we review movies, documentaries, and films like you've never seen before. A completely different way, four different perspectives, organic, and we are here today to review Colin in Black and White.
Oh, yes.
Available on Netflix. I think this will be a great show. This is actually a 6-part series, but we all kind of came together and said, we're going to binge watch this. And we're going to go hit it hard tonight.
He lying. We ain't decided shit. He told us just binge watch it. I didn't put no vote in on it.
I made an executive decision that we was gonna watch this. Exactly. 30 minutes each.
Even my mama
ain't doing that anyway.
She said, "You got to watch all 6 of them." I'm like, "Yeah, mama."
Hell, I didn't even know it was 6. I thought it was like one thing.
Look at
we
yourself.
had homework anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick it over to Wilks. How you doing tonight, sir?
Pretty good. How's it going? Doing good. I'm good. Everybody all right?
Good.
Yes,
you got anything in the cup or anything over there?
No, not just water tonight. I want to go a little light on this one.
That's why he's subdued. I don't know. You and your old lady ain't arguing or nothing, is it?
No.
Okay, I mean, if you need to come over, I know you close, so.
Yeah, no, we get.
All right, let me know, man. I need to bring my pistol over there. So.
All right. Man, I got the chloroform in the trunk.
Well, see, it's always that dude that take it just a little too far.
Hey, Trap, how you doing tonight?
Chet Chiquelo, hey. I'm Nigerian tonight.
Good to have you. And Dawk, how you doing?
I am fantastic, and I want to immediately correct a wrong from me last week, and that is giving The Harder They Fall 4.5 mics. 4.5 mics was far too short, and in fact, 5 mics ain't enough. And the reason why is because afterwards, something came across my timeline with regard to some Easter eggs that they had in the show, where like Chadwick Boseman's name was on the train, and all the buildings in the downtown of Redwood were either the producers on the show, like Carter and Carter, or somebody connected to the film, or historical Black figures.
Right.
So that alone deserved an up, right? And then I got a hold of their soundtrack. And their soundtrack had so many artists on there, from CeeLo Green to Lauryn Hill to this chick out of South Africa who's a Black opera singer who's only 36 years old. And in opera, 36 is super, super young, right? And she basically took over the opera scene, basically. And they had one of her songs on there. So it was such an eclectic, diverse soundtrack. And yet it was banging. I probably loaded about 4 or 5 of the songs from the soundtrack on the various playlists that I have. So again, if you have not seen The Harder They Fall, watch our review from last week and then prepare for it to be even better than that. In fact, my sister was over this weekend because my mom was here and she cooked and stuff like that. And so when I found out my sister had watched it, I just played it again. And my sister's like, I don't like Westerns. And I'm like, trust me.
Yeah.
Just watch
it.
Don't worry about that. I said, just watch it.
I literally watched it back to back.
And I noticed not even 15 minutes into the show, I noticed she had to go to the restroom. And so she was like doing like this. And she ran down the hallway to the restroom and back so she wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah.
So I promise you, it don't matter if it's a Western or whatnot, watch it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I literally watched it back to back, like played it. Right? I mean, it was
and I'll say this. I'll say this, man. I watched it again too. And I was almost like my daughter trying not to tell my wife what was about to happen, especially at the end.
Me too.
I was like, I don't want to tell you. I want to tell you. I want to tell you, but I want to tell you.
And how many movies that we reviewed that we can all say that about, right? You know, that hey, we watched this again. It's not happening, you know.
Stop the press.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute.
Press.
Hold on.
Rucker.
Yeah, she got it. She doesn't. It's cuffing season out here.
Yes, I see you. I see you, Rucker.
And one more thing before I turn it back over to you, Ben. I am giving away a BS3 Network, BS3 TV T-shirt, a free T-shirt to the first individual who emails me BS3 TV downloaded on multiple Roku devices in your home. I need an emailed photos of you having BS3 TV downloaded on your Roku device.
Yes, that is the
email.
You
get a free T-shirt.
IvanDawk1@gmail. You see it, write it down. Let's make that happen. We continue in the
HRap to doing it.
Continuing the bill. Shout out to Natasha. Thank you for tuning in.
I thought I didn't send you one HRap.
Oh no, I'm just being.
But then I sent you a T-shirt.
You sent me one, but it's at my son's house.
Yeah, okay.
I've been over there to see it. Mr. the parolee of the show. He got his shirt.
Okay, good.
Finally.
I took it over last night.
All right, cool.
Just put it on the doorknob and ran. Huh?
Right. His parole officer sitting across the street.
Chef Finest Wine, thank you for tuning in. Miss Mika, thank you for tuning in. Queen, I'm assuming she was the one that was over watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll say this, man. We maybe, now we ain't talked about this, but we maybe need to do a part 2. I don't know how we would talk about it again.
Yeah.
But just the second time watching it, there was even more stuff that I noticed. But also, like, thank you for sharing that Dawk, those clips, because that made me look at the CA Bozeman on the side, look at the different buildings, and it's not Seal's brother anymore. His name is it James Samuel?
James Samuel. Yeah.
I mean, we definitely gotta pay respect to that dude, because he was it was so well done, man. The second time around watching it, but. Tonight, we will be talking about Colin in Black and White. It's available on Netflix. It is a limited series. I don't know how long they're planning to have it on there. They just said season 1, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be a season 2. Maybe that's in the works. Ava DuVernay doing a great job directing it. Let's give our initial takes on it. I'll just kick it off and say, anybody that has any question about Colin Kaepernick, what is he? What does he think? What does he believe? Why does he do what he does? You have to watch this. I don't care what side of the kneeling you're on. I don't care what side of his life you're on. Yeah. You have to watch this movie. Point number 2 is, if you're a Caucasian parent with a Black child, you have to watch this. It is mandatory. When you adopt your child, they hand you a DVD. Yeah. Or a Blu-ray, or they're gonna give you a free Netflix trial. So you can go
Blu-ray and a DVD the same thing.
Exponential email addresses that Ben.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Use this. Use this email right here.
You can, because if you got a Black kid and you white, you can email me, because you're gonna need some help.
I mean, so that I want to say that right out the gate, but I think it was very well done. Let's go to Dawk.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. We joked about watching it all in one setting, basically. And the episodes are just 30 minutes long, approximately, or whatever. And it was easy, to watch. It was easy to get them done, I actually didn't watch it in one setting. I watched 3 episodes on Saturday night, and then I watched 3 episodes on Sunday morning, I believe is how. No. Friday night, 3 episodes. Saturday morning, 3 episodes. But it was not difficult at all, So, yeah, I was going to say that as well. I highly recommend it to really anybody, but especially if you have some sort of connection with regard to interracial relationships or interracial children or whatever. It'll give you some insight on exactly what they go through from their perspective.
Right. Shout out to Tiffany Scott. Thank you for tuning in. Also, Raider Kev. It is his birthday. Happy birthday to you, born day, Raider Kev. Raiders, did they get a win?
Hey. Let's not move on with the show, man.
Keep it moving. Ain't nothing to see here. Keep it moving. All right, Wilks, I go to you.
Yeah, just watching this show, there were a lot of questions. When white people go to adopt black children, definitely usually from, I don't know, not local neighborhoods, but like other countries. How are you not educating yourself on that culture that they're probably going to lean toward? Like you're literally thinking they're going to grow up this way, and those things are not going to, I guess, come back in, or something they're going to gravitate to. Like, hey, this is just like we always say, oh, that person looks like me on TV. I can relate to this person. So why would they not relate to their culture again? But yet then when they embrace their culture, you have an issue with it. So there was some things where just like, why would you not try to educate yourself on that? Because this is whom you're raising, and you need to be aware of these things. It's like it's important to reconnect to those things so they know that, hey, you know what, it's okay, I don't look like you, but my culture says, this is who I am, this is what we create, this is what I enjoy. But why do you only want to embrace some of it, but you don't want to embrace all of that? So I kind of picked up on some things like that. And it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be more of like a doc. I guess it was kind of a docu-series.
I actually like the style they shot it in.
I kind of like that. It was different. So I enjoyed it. That was pretty good.
Definitely. HRap.
Oh, well, it was funny that Dawk said, it's funny that Dawk said things that trigger and bring about things. It's because y'all know I'm big on Twitter. Not that I'm big time or anything, but I am big time. But
it's not what Spike Lee said.
Hey.
We're big enough know that.
Spike Lee don't want to see me on Twitter, man.
It'll be in here in a minute.
Seriously, it was this young lady. She put out a video and she excoriated Colin Kaepernick because he's playing the role, and she doesn't realize that he's just going along with the situation to further expose the National Football League. And his story shows you where he stands in regards to that. Because, Colin occasionally puts out something that says, I'm still working out. What he's really doing, she took it as he's begging to get back in the league. But what he's really doing is showing you, hey, I'm still in good shape, and y'all need me. Y'all need people who can do what I do, and y'all still not dealing with me. The racism continues, the blackball continues, the BS continues, and he shows you from the very beginning of the nonsense that he's been dealing with his entire life. Because a lot of people spread this lie that Colin don't give a damn about anybody but himself. And I forgot the lady's name that he was dating. I don't know if he's still dating her, but she's supposed to be the person who made him woke. And as you see throughout this entire story, he's been woke since the word go. And in closing, you see the sheer framework of Africana studies, ways of knowing the social structure and the governance structure, ways of knowing. He didn't know why he was drawn to Allen Iverson. He didn't know why he was drawn to hip hop, but he understood. Even though I'm growing up in this lily white universe, there's something over there that's pulling me to that. And to you guys' point, this is why you do need to subdue your God complex, so you can, if you're truly trying to help out the good niggers, subdue your God complex, study these people, and then you'll be able to raise this young man and or woman properly.
Yes.
My other side to that, just to add on, I'm just curious of how many people that just were, calling him garbage, calling him all kinds of names, telling him to get, he needs to get out of the country. I wonder how many of those people actually maybe tried to attempt to even watch this, but I get a feeling that they're so ignorant that they already barred it. They probably, were probably sent letters into Netflix trying to get it removed. But did you really take the time to watch this and listen? Because I felt like it was another Dave Chappelle situation. Like, did you watch any of this to get what he's talking about, to trying to bring to a point, trying to bring to the light? I don't know. I just kind of wonder about stuff like that.
I can almost guarantee you they don't. They didn't. There's
They're
no need. When you think you know everything, what good is it to listen?
Because
they're going to assume it's going to be a certain way. Yeah.
Right. Because even as I say that right now, it's like black people have, and I could be wrong, but I feel like we have more history and information out there about us as a people that nobody wants to even bat an eye at. It's like we have the information about us, the culture's there, the history's there. Like, what are you afraid that you're going to find in that history? What are you afraid you're going to find in that culture? You know, it's like it's there for you to find out about.
Right.
I mean, you definitely understand what they know they will find.
Absolutely.
You find out that supremacy thing that they've created, they've inculcated into American society, and people like Steve Bannon trying to take it around the world is a hoax. It's a lie. It's a falsehood. So if you start reading the truth, this is why you get so much pushback from people who want to do with the CRT, critical race theory. Because if you fool around and start finding out the truth that you've been lying for 400, 500 years, then your entire superiority complex that you developed on your own is destroyed.
Right. And the scary part is not necessarily that, because the parents, they know. They don't want their kids to know like what they're indoctrinated into, which is that privilege. Let's get to some comments here. Charlotte, thank you for tuning in. Said, I learned so much watching this. Me too. Like, to me, I didn't know if it was just going to be a documentary. I knew they had actors in it, but I agree with Dawk. The way they did this was, I thought was great, because Cap was narrating his own story. Mm-hmm. Who better to narrate a story than the person? Right. Like, and they had an actor in there that looked pretty close to, you look at photos.
Casting did a fantastic job. Yeah.
Pretty well done. People fear and hate what they don't understand. And to Wilks' point, there's so much that's out there. There's so much that's out there that you can't say, oh, I don't know, or I didn't have the information. That's a cop-out at this point. There's too much information. There's an overload of information. Everything that we've reviewed has been something that people need to watch, and is educational and informative and entertainment. So, Just Joe, thank you for tuning in. All right, so the opening of it, which episode 1 was about cornrows, and that was the title of it. And his mom, like, there was just at certain points like, this can't be real, right? But I think it was. I mean, to me, these are situations. I got some questions as we're going throughout this that we've all been through, and I think this is true to him. But his mom trying to figure out about the cornrows and all that. But Kaepernick was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He wanted to play for the Packers, but he ended up actually growing up in Turlock, California. For me, a little bit of background, I grew up in the Bay Area. So seeing kind of some of these things, the Skyline High School reference, him going to the Bay Area music, that was really, to me, that was good to hear. And then he got into the combine, which he just went straight into it. It wasn't like let's make it all fluffy and then let's get to the tough stuff. And to Wilks' point again, this is necessary. It's necessary to watch tough stuff that you don't want to watch. Right. Stuff that makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. It's necessary. We are uncomfortable every day. So like, it's okay to be uncomfortable for 3 hours. If you watch this whole thing, it was 3 hours. I watched it all on Sunday because I wanted to get it all in one group so I could get the full sense of what it was about. So is the combine like slavery? Because the way he laid it out is it's point blank and simple.
The funny thing was, as soon as they showed that and how he was introducing it, that's immediately where my mind went. Is when he used that word parading. It's immediately what I was thinking about. The slavery blocks and the auctions. It's like you pretty much got them on display for all to see, and You know, you measuring them, you know, especially with a 12 years a slave, he had him like running in place, and this is a strong one right here. You know, he worked hard. You know, so you know, it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure there are some definite similarities there. I mean, why not? That's what it looks like. That's what it comes off as. I mean,
yeah. I think the main difference is they're obviously getting paid a ton more than during that time. But
well, you know, one of the things you got to look at though is relatively speaking, right? It's all relative. So they're getting paid more, but they're getting paid more by these billionaires, right? Mm-hmm. So you know, the percentage of what they're getting paid versus what slaves got paid, is it a ton more, relatively speaking? Mm-hmm. But the key piece to me on the combine situation is what we don't see on ESPN or NFL Network. Right. You know, because he talked about them being poked and prodded and etc. So they're probably having to go through doctors. They probably are stripping them naked. They probably hold your balls and cough. They probably doing all that, you know, and, you know, because again, you know, obviously if they're making that kind of investment, they want to see exactly what they're getting. Right. But he even referred to it as dehumanizing in some instances. So, and I can't remember the story. I don't know if it was Terrell Owens or I think it was Terrell Owens. Dez Bryant. That's right. His mom, they brought up her, you know, past or whatever. And I think if what they asked him, was his mom a prostitute or something like that? No. You know, and I don't know if he ended up having a lawsuit and settled that or something of that nature.
No, they didn't do anything.
But that came out where they asked his mom. I asked him if his mom was a prostitute, you know, so but I know they came out and apologized about it. But
that's all they did.
Yeah. But so it's, you know, that's what I'm saying is the stuff we can't see, you know, the other stuff, the running and the catching and the whatever, you know, we are fascinated by that because we want to see who run the fastest and who, you know, God, dog, that joker set a new record in the 40, you know, or whatever, right? So it's fascinating from that standpoint. But again, he's like, it's the part that you don't see, you know.
Right. And I think the bigger point is in real live game action, what you run in the 40 almost don't even matter. The most successful players
most definitely
are the guys that's not running a 40. Like Tyreek Hill is one of the fastest players. I don't remember his 40 time. I don't know who does, but the clips that happened during combine time, that whole 3 days, they were just posting stuff over and over and over again about them, about their reps, about how high they jump. So there's definitely a comparison there, and it's an investment.
There's a difference, you know, the people in athletics knows the difference between speed and football speed. You know, it's some folks who didn't run a fast 40, but on the field, you ain't catching them. You know, kind of situation. So, it's a little difference when there's some pads and when you got somebody chasing you.
It's all fun and games till you get punched in the mouth.
Exactly.
Well,
and you really should put up. We need to talk about Raider Kev after HRap says what he said. That comment about that comment, I got to take issue with that. But go ahead, HRap.
Well, I mean, I would equate it exactly to slavery. I've been saying for years that we always we always look at slavery as people not getting paid, right? But as you referenced, Dawk, it is relative because let's just say the South wins the Civil War. And we got a whole nother America.
Right.
With the technology that's available, we would be able to move around. It wouldn't be chains. It'd be something else. It'd be like an electronic device.
I'm there.
You talk about currency, right? It is currency. What they're doing, the combine, people assume that the combine is about, okay, Ben, he's at Morehouse, HRap is at Morris Brown, Dawk is at Texas Southern, Wilks is at Houston Tillerson, right? I did pick all HBCUs.
Yes. That was necessary.
That was necessary, indeed. But people go, hey, they're trying to make sure they can pay him the most money. But it's not about basic. It's about being. The only difference in this and slavery is slavery was, look, you see how strong Dawk teeth is? You see
Did you say Steve?
No, they go. They used to check everything. You see how strong this is? You see this? He's look at him. He's a young buck. It was to bring up value. The combine is the absolute opposite.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't look like to confirm what you said. The stuff that we don't see. people don't remember when Garrison Hearst in 1991, Garrison Hearst had an MRI, and they discovered that Garrison Hearst had a torn ACL when he was a little boy, who he probably just hobbled through it and walked through it. It healed improperly. They told him, look, we still gonna draft you where we want to draft you, but that's gonna break in a couple. That's gonna break at some point in your career. Won't you let us fix it now, pay you, and sit on them again? It is. You are a strong buck. Yeah. We know you are going to be productive. We know how to fix the problem that's there, so we can you can pick the best, the most cotton possible. So it hasn't changed. It is the exact same thing. And because we don't equate a job with slavery,
right?
Because look, these guys are the Mandingos of the situation.
Right.
You're a Mandingo fighter. You had people fighting, and you lived in better quarters. You had your pick of enslaved women, and you lived a better life. You had better scraps. So now these people have better scraps. They live in better quarters, and allegedly they have the pick of the women, but these are the low vibrating women who are willing to subject themselves to this type of tyranny and prostitute themselves and will push their dignity to the side. So it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. All right, let's get to this comment about Raider Kev. This episode, we're talking about episode 1. Once again, talking about Colin in black and white, available right now on Netflix. This episode made me feel as his parents truly was trying to understand him and help him grow to an irresponsible
he meant to a responsible.
Yeah, he meant responsible.
Yeah. Go ahead. Whoever want to jump on that first.
Now he did have a follow-up statement too. You want to go to the follow-up?
Yeah, because the
follow-up statement.
He said, okay, not sure where you're going to go with my comment, but I understand I'm saying in this episode later on. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think his parents had no attempt whatsoever to make him as a responsible person in society. They wanted him to conform. People don't want you to be the best. They want you to be the best in their eyes. Just like I say all the time on my show, people don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion come out your mouth.
Right.
You're a thug if you dress this way. You're this, you're that. Again, back to I don't remember if it was Mayhem or Dawk that said it, but I don't need you to be the best you. I need you to be the best rendition of you. I need you. I need whiteness and blackface.
Right.
White facing blackness. That's what it is. White facing blackness. You know, like white people do. Al Joseph was a white man in blackface. They need a black man in whiteface. Right. And that's what they tried to make you do.
Well, it was just like,
in fact, I think she flip-flopped in this episode, didn't she? Because at the beginning of the episode, at the earlier point in the episode, I made a note. Mom figuring out about his hair was pretty damn cool. I put that on there. Then the next, probably 4 or 5 lines later, his mom came and asked him, "How long do you think this is going to last?" Right. That's shaky sign 1 that she's not really feeling it, And then she came on out, and I even said no parental support. Mom said he looked like a thug because remember his baseball coach said what he said, and his mom and daddy both agreed with him. So she lost all the cool points that she had gained by taking him and trying to figure it out and saying, okay, if you're going to get this done, let's go get it done professionally. She was asking her coworkers about what do I need to use in terms of products on his hair and stuff like that. I didn't have a problem with that issue because guess what? If you're white and you have a black kid, I've seen it, even interracial relationships. I've had people call people in my family saying, how do I fix their hair? How do I do it? I don't, so I get that, but they completely flip-flopped, especially mom completely flip-flopped and gave him no support at all. And again, put him in a position where you're going to conform.
Yeah. His parents were absolutely clueless. Now, I don't know because if we fast forward later on, this was their second option. So I don't know how much they really thought about it at all or even did any type of research at all. And the other note I had is his parents was corny as hell. They were so like at every possible opportunity. I'm like, damn. Like
I was really serious about to tap out because they were getting on my nerves. I was like,
it was like they didn't know they didn't know anything, and it's like they didn't even, and they suppressed how he felt. That is Charlotte, the comment that she did. Yeah, they made him his hair, the overlook for varsity, the girlfriend, like it was like, we know that you're black, but we don't want you to act like you're black.
Right.
Why are you looking like that?
No, I'm saying exactly.
Yeah.
But next time somebody call your family, dog, just let them know if your hair is short nappy, Concoline will make you happy.
Concoline. Go ahead, Wilks.
It was just one of those moments where it was just like you're trying to understand it, but then you're not trying to understand it. You think your way of understanding is the right way of understanding, but it's not. I wasn't going to share this thought this quickly in the show, but I felt like when I was watching this the second time, I have to realize everybody's story isn't somebody else's story. Your story isn't meant for that person, but it's meant for someone. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those moments where it's like he said, you got to use that power and you've got to tap into that. That's what I was trying to explain to my son when he was in school. Well, he still is, but he's a senior now. But I was trying, when he was having issues, I was telling him, I was like, Andre, you've got to learn how to use that power that you're given. You don't even know you have that power. I was like, the power is the power that you gain. You've always had it, but you get it from other people that allow you to use that power. I was like, I told him, for example, if your teacher can trust you to go down the hall and come back, and then trust you again to come down the hall and come back, oh, well, that exempts you from certain tasks. But that doesn't mean you can't do that task. It's just that you've got that power now that they trust you. It is a power of trust that they have given you. So it's one of those things where in this situation, if they would have realized that, okay, you know what, our young Colin, he's growing up, he's making decisions. Like I said, he could be out in the streets. He could be out there doing anything he wanted to do, but he's trying to get into sports. He's trying to better himself. Yeah, he wants his parents' support. But to them, it's just like the things he's doing and how he's going. It's like, oh, no, we don't want you to embrace this blackness that you're trying to embrace. We want you to just stay the course, blinders on, and fall in like everything. Rules. And he's like, what rules? What are you talking about? I've never heard of this. So it was just one of those moments where I felt like she was going back and forth. The dad wasn't really much help. I thought he would have put his foot in.
I wanted to punch him at a lot of different moments.
In all fairness, some of this is ignorance, right? They were operating from a point of ignorance. Right. They just flat out didn't know. Now at some point, you say, okay, I'm going to give you a pass on ignorance for so long, but at some point, there's got to be this desire to figure it out. As a parent, it doesn't matter if you got same race kids or different race kids. At some point, you got to be tuned in enough with your kids to know something is going on. Right? What is it? Right?
Exactly.
Whether it's, I think like Charlotte put on there, they were upset because he wouldn't open up. Whether it's that, whether it's whatever, there has to be something that tugs at you to say, you got to figure this out. Something's going on with him that we're not tapped into. But again, some of it they're operating from a point of ignorance, but I can only give you that ignorance pass for so long.
Yeah. Shout out to Archie Red. Thank you for coming through. Drink the Kool-Aid. He's actually gonna be coming to Roku soon as well with his own channel. So big shout out to Archie Red. All right, so I wanted to point out two things. Number one, I don't know if y'all remember this. Wilks, you probably remember this. LimeWire, the LimeWire reference.
Yeah.
I remember downloading music on LimeWire.
Yeah.
The other thing
then it changed to FrostWire, didn't it?
It was
because they got lawsuit problems with a bunch of those services.
Napster. It was Napster.
If you still want to use that type of service, you can go to Pirate Bay, but you ain't hear from me.
Hey, don't worry about it. Ben been talking about pirate and shit since we've been on there.
Okay. This is out there. Let me tell you something.
Hey,
piratebay.com.
Man.
Get you some VIN protection. and you can download any album in the history of Earth.
That Pirate Bay is crazy.
Hey, Charlotte, all you gotta do is Charlotte 12345 !@Gmail. Bam. Let's put another number at the end, Charlotte. I'm just using Charlotte as an example. She don't have to do that.
Wow, my gosh.
Moving along. All right. Also, the moment when you getting your hair done by a black person at a black barbershop or something. I know that's happened to all of us. When you in the chair and they're like, hold on, I got to get something to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you just started cutting my hair. Hold on, I got to go to the store.
That's like an Atlanta episode.
The Atlanta episode, exactly. Yeah. So that was another point of reference.
Chicago, I got to go smoke this blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was two things I wanted to point out. And Charlotte, do not apologize for the comments at all.
Yeah. Oh no,
that's what this is about. If Mom was genuinely trying to support him, she would have stayed the 2 times he got his hair done.
Thank you.
Try to learn. Yeah, she was like, whoa, uncomfortable.
3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She was
gave
gone.
herself to Malcolm X.
Right.
They were playing. She couldn't handle that BET. What song was they playing?
That Ludacris. I got hoes.
And everything.
Had different area codes, and she couldn't handle the same sex either. She can't handle that either. That was like.
And she told me one time to put salt and pepper on everything. Like, lady, you need to fall back.
No. It's cool. This tastes good.
It ain't seasoned.
Hey, but you know what? I'm glad they put that in there. That's my favorite subliminal context in any movie we reviewed. The reason I say that is our community has this reputation of us hating gays in the LGBTQ community. We are, black people are homophobic. No. Because they use our vernacular and as Miss Ethel Adams, my 8th grade teacher, used to call it the black dialect, and they weaponize it. Like it was this this is horrible, but it was this dude, he was special needs, and he had y'all remember Roscoe from Martin?
Yeah.
I knew a guy built exactly like Roscoe. He had legs that were about maybe, literally, I'm not kidding, maybe about 24 inches long, but he had my torso on top of those legs. And because we black folks and we identify you by whatever sets you apart, his God rest his soul, he was known as Tony Crip. So, and the man had the arms of a 5'10" man. But he had the legs of a toddler, and he's sad. This is the sad part. He's the gangbang, man. And then no, this is the best part. When the rival gang would show up and outnumber the gang that was in my neighborhood, they would pick him up like a football and be running with him down the street. But and I remember my oldest sister, because by the time we moved in that community, my sister was an adult. And my sister laid eyes on him and was laughing hysterically and started calling him Roscoe.
Oh my God.
But everybody on the block was laughing.
Yeah.
And and nobody meant anything by it. It was another dude in the neighborhood. He had one leg shorter than the other. We called him Crip too. So they use this kind of, we almost like we flip the N-word. We do the same thing with other things. And again, if as Charlotte said, if you sit your behind in that barbershop, you will get to know us a lot more than you assume. Exactly. Because it ain't many old dogs in the community. Right. It ain't many Snoop Dogs in the community. Ain't no brothers walking up the beach with loafers on, handing out beer. I'm sorry,
Right.
But they will they're comfortable with Snoop Dogg handing out beer. They're comfortable with Snoop Dogg. Like I said, blackface whiteness.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, what are you so afraid that you're gonna learn or you're gonna find out? Like, sit right there in that chair and be uncomfortable for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. And guess what? And that uncomfortableness will roll away once you start interacting, once you start trying to understand that. You're uncomfortable for a reason because you want to stay ignorant and blind to it.
Watch that BET Uncut and see what you learn.
Man. Because they're gonna bless you right after they go off.
Find out why I got holes in different areas.
Right, exactly. Hey, look up Nate Dogg on your AOL account.
Yeah.
All right, so the Iverson reference.
I got holes.
Did anybody know that he was that Iverson had that much of an influence on him? I didn't know.
I had no idea.
I never heard of that. That was new to me.
It was new, but it wasn't shocking.
Yeah, true.
Because he's a 6'3" Iverson. Look, he came into the NFL. Yeah, cornrows. He came to the NFL. He had sleeves of scripture tattooed on his arm.
Yeah.
So he's Big John Iverson.
Hey, Mika just texted me and she said 2 things. I measured my legs to see if they were longer than 24 inches, and I just stopped coughing when they said they carried that man from a gang fight.
Hey, real story. If Big Illinois was in the chat room, he would confirm it.
This fool took out a tape measure. Oh boy.
No, man, I'm telling you, his legs were about this long. Seriously, like,
wow.
And then the funny thing, he used to try to hoop and everything, man.
Hey,
moment of silence for Crip.
Tony Crip.
Tony Crip.
Rest in peace, Tony Crip.
Hey, we not gonna take any of that tonight.
Yeah, no kidding.
Philly, he's an Eagles fan. But thank you for coming through. Make sure to check out his channel only if you're an Eagles fan. Everybody else just bypass.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Charlotte with a comment. Colin's statement about being chosen second was very telling. When your family loves you and supports you, you shouldn't feel that way. And how did he know he was adopted second unless he'd been told? That's a great point. Man. I don't know. I mean, that's the only way he would have known it, unless he did some, research later on.
But he would never know.
Yeah.
If you truly love this kid, you wouldn't tell him that.
Yeah. I would be interested to know how it came up. That's for sure.
Now the dad point. I wanted this was the first time I wanted to punch the dad. He said Michael Jordan accomplished so much more because he was bald. I was like, dude,
bro.
Yeah, the dad was lightweight. I get a dad a little bit. Dad was lightweight, trying to be funny in some spots.
That was serious. I think that was serious.
Yeah, it was a serious Scott. And please, I'm gonna tell you another thing. For me, it was hard for me watching him because I know him as the dude from Parks and Rec.
He's a comedian. He's funny. That's why it was so hard. It was hard to picture him as being a serious
That's another thing I was a bit shocked about. The parents are some named actors. They weren't just throwaway actors. I was impressed that they put that money behind.
I'm like, how am I supposed to take this guy serious?
Yeah, really. Yeah. This dude, everything he does is funny. And in his face, it looks serious, but you know he's being funny. You got that, that dark humor.
You know what, man? I don't think his dad was trying to be. I know you're not talking about it in this instance. I don't think he was trying to be funny a lot, unless it was clearly being funny. And I think, hey man, this ain't real nice what I'm about to say, but when I'm gonna start doing that, I think they looked at him as a pet, man.
That's not a that's not
a real comment. I mean, how often do you think that's the case? Look at the lady in the hotel.
Think about the Brad and Angelina Jolies over the years, and the people who now I happen to know some good people. I know this cat on the radio that legitimately they're not black kids. I think they're from Guatemala. He's adopted at least one kid from there, or whatever. And I know that dude. That's a legit dude, But I would tell you, I promise you there are a lot that look at it that way. And that's an apt description. And whether they know it or not, that's how they are behaving. I think you're right on.
And in this film, when the nurse or, the adoption agency came to them and said, the baby that you wanted, you're not able to get. And it was kind of like okay, that's it. And then it was almost like as an afterthought, but we do have this other thing over here. If you want,
we got this monkey,
right? Right.
So I mean, like it was,
But I want to, you know, number one, I wrote on there, I said he owns that afro. You know, like Colin is about that fro, man. He gonna rock that sucker. But another thing is, like, when they talked about being tender-headed, right? And the first braids, and you even saw the red marks. They go into some detail, man, that I dig, dude. You know, that, you know, you want to get to know some of the things that we go through. Let me put it like this. If you hadn't dated a chick that done got her hair braided and then came to the house and then had to, whether it's this or whether it's taking, they literally are taking ibuprofen for the pain.
Right.
You know, hey.
Or sleeping like this.
This real.
Sleeping. If that skin ain't bunched up, it ain't real.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
You know, and during those adult acts, ain't no pulling on no hair and stuff like that. So if that's your kind of freak,
no,
it ain't
happening today. So
I just had this hair done.
Right now, my
I
daughter,
like to pull on her every now and then.
Don't shut that corn just yet.
Yeah, so I need to know the day before you're gonna get your hair done, so I can get some hair pulling in.
Yes.
I laughed at the tender-headedness I experienced. That scalp on fire.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what?
Extra Korean.
Ava and them did a great job putting this together, but I want to give somebody, I don't know if y'all noticed it, Robert Townsend directed these.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, did he?
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't even notice it until the last episode, so I thought maybe
I did not know that. Meteor Man.
Yeah.
Why you gonna name the
Meteor
word?
Man?
That's hey.
That's
the first thing that come to mind.
So forget the 5 heartbeats.
Yeah, man. He gonna start at the.
You forget.
Wow. See, that's what they talking about. Like we our own worst enemies, man. We can't even go with
our own people.
Hey, that's the first thing
about when he was the real king, huh?
Or the TV show he had.
Parenthood.
All right, so the one thing I appreciated about every single episode is that it highlighted someone in the culture, somebody that they highlighted. DJ Cool Herrick was one that they referenced in episode 1. I mean, so just the way it was done, I thought somatically was just well done, man. Like it could have been him just narrating and walking around. Right. But the way that they wanted to highlight a person each episode, and they did a great job at that. So I wanted to point that out.
Another thing too is, number one, I'll say yet again, soundtrack is come up in this situation. I'm like, oh my God, what is it about the movies that we watch? Is it because they're related to our culture mostly? The reason why we banging with these soundtracks, I don't know, but this soundtrack was hidden. But one of the biggest statements of this entire episode for me was toward the end of the episode when he says he couldn't rebel because he didn't know how.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
big stuff
for a kid, man.
That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at here. That's so strong, you know, and just think, you know, that fine line between telling our kids, because think about it, from the time that they're born, you're trying to teach them to capitulate, so to speak, right? To your authority. Right. And you're trying to get them to be productive citizens. So you send them into school, you know, in pre-K or kindergarten, saying, you know, you got to behave. And we all got those little nieces and nephews or cousins or whatever that you say, when that boy get in school, that's going to be a problem. When that boy get in school, that girl get in school, it's going to be a problem. Right. We all seen them. Right. So it's a fine line between that capitulation and adhering to authority to understanding when authority is mistreating you and knowing how to quote unquote rebel, but doing it in the proper way, right? In a way that's not going to get you in trouble, that's out of line even for your parents. In other words, you can't come, the teacher, think about this, how many little black girls we done seen on YouTube or TikTok or whatever you want to call it, cussing out a teacher. Well, what you don't see is what done happened the 6 weeks before that, right? You know, that may have been her being fed up. So there's a fine line between rebelling, right, when it's needed to be, right? Let me put it like this. Some of the biggest moments in our culture have taken place because rebellion took place. Rosa Parks, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't teach them properly how to rebel. That's a big statement, man, to me.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's an excellent point.
No,
and real quick, back to the hair real quick. My daughter just got her hair done, and today she was like, it's too tight. The stocking cap is too tight. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah, get us
you gotta keep it on.
Ibuprofen, man. There's some water.
You gotta keep it on. All right. So anything else from episode 1?
No, that's all I had.
Episode 2, quarterbacking. And again, I appreciate this. Just get to the meat. Don't beat around it. And he got straight to the meat talking about white man approval, which we have all experienced.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
And then the system was initially built against Black people, and that's true. It was not built with us in mind to say, it's not broken. It was like you over here and the system's over here. That's like how it was built.
And before that, the boundary hopping law, it's literally a law, that I had no idea it was a law that could get you
in jail,
in trouble, whether it be a misdemeanor or whatever. But, that was interesting.
Yeah, so that was a great opening. HRap, you want to touch on that?
Oh, yeah, man. It's still going on to this very day. Mm-hmm. It's just done in a more subtle way. Back then, well, he was coming in at the tail end of, well, maybe you could be a cornerback. Maybe you can be a wide receiver. Yeah. But, I mean, let's just go back 3 years. 3 years. 3 years ago today, what's his name? He used to run the Buffalo Bills, and he made his bones with the Buffalo Bills, and he became the guru running the Colts.
You're talking about Bill Polian.
Bill Polian. What's the first thing they said when our brother Lamar Jackson, former league MVP, former Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, he should be a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. It's the situation. This is why I laugh at the woke people who in 3 or 4 fantasy football leagues and ain't missed a game since OJ retired.
Right.
But but they holding us back. So it's the same thing, man. Yeah. And what he did, I mean, I think by and large, this was a gigantic shot at the National Football League.
Oh, yes, because that's the same every single time.
But in my estimation, it was a shot at them, a huge shot at them, but it was a shot heard around the world as far as I'm concerned, because it's such institutions as, and I'll get into it in just a second, but when he talked about the prototype, right? There are some, you want to talk about some meat on a bone, what the prototype is, when he come into this competition, well, that's the prototype. You're good, but that's the prototype. Well, your prototype or your idea of a prototype is broken. Your idea of a prototype is short-sighted by, okay, fine. He's 6'5". He, got the cannon for an arm. What you're leaving out 9 times out of 10 is that prototype is that he white. Because Colin proved that he had an arm out this world. He proved that his footwork, his dedication, his all that out of this world.
Yeah, and the other point of that is now we're seeing white quarterbacks with the ability to run, with the ability to be mobile. Josh Allen is a prime example, like the Buffalo Bills quarterback. The dude can run and he can throw. So now you can't say that that's the product. You can't say that it doesn't match, because everybody's doing it now. So now what's your excuse?
Exactly.
And that's why they hurried up. We got Steve Young guys in San Francisco. Because when Steve Young was in the USFL with the LA Express, they used to put him at tailback sometimes. So and Young was about to bust all that up. And they said, we got to put him in the situation. Whereas
this football tryout scene really hit home for me, because I had the same experience as a freshman in high school. Me and several brothers did. So, and you can see this throughout this episode, right? And this is not that long ago where he's talking about it. But when I say baseball has been a white sport for the longest, okay? So we're playing in city leagues before you get to high school, right? We're playing in city leagues. I'm hitting home runs. I'm making an all-star team every year. I can play any position in the infield, any position in an outfield. My stick was dynamite. I got to high school for tryouts. I'm banging the ball. I know I'm crushing the ball because that's all they had us do. They didn't have us field anything. They just saw us hit. And somehow I don't make the team. There was literally one black kid on the team. And guess who that black kid was? The black kid who had happened to play with the white kids that were on the team. So they signed off on him and told the coaches, you got to go get such and such Jackson.
Right.
You know, so that experience that I wasn't a prototype. And so to me, I always said to them is that you cost yourself playoff appearances and potential state championships because the brothers that we had, the speed that we would have had on bases, we had stick. You had so much versatility. He had left-handed pitching in the brothers that was cold. That had some. I mean, they had some cannons for arms. But because we were brothers, we didn't get signed off on.
Right.
One brother on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to watch too many of y'all.
One brother.
My nephew Jonathan dealing with that right now.
Who is that?
My nephew Jonathan.
I believe it.
Jonathan
Yeah, and in fact, even so, fast forward, 30 years later, and I'm coaching kids, and we got a predominantly black baseball team, and we're traveling them all over the country to play, right? And far too often, we the only black folks there, and we took pride in that, and we finna dominate y'all, right? But when they get to high school, we had a kid that, when I say this kid is a fantastic shortstop, they wouldn't even give him a tryout at the infield position. As soon as he got there, immediately you got to go to the outfield. Now, this is the same kid that got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. He got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, went to their minor league system. Now, think about how often we hear about this when we get, when people get to the league or whatever, and they're like, oh, yeah, he played, he was a pitcher in high school, or he was, how many running backs you say are wide receivers? Oh, yeah, he was a quarterback in high school, or he did this. My point is that those that are athletic at the high school level, they can do anything.
Yeah.
Now fine, the Blue Jays might have said, okay, we didn't put you at outfield, whatever. But for a high school to automatically be relegating you to the outfield and not even giving you a shot in the infield.
Yeah.
No.
And I think the part that pisses me off is when they talk about black athletes, period, they use two words, natural and raw talent.
Right.
It ain't raw. They've been playing since they was 9 or 6. Right. It's not raw. It's talent. Yeah. Leave it at talent. Don't say it's natural. Every single time there's a defensive end, specifically Randy Gregory. The minute that he was in the draft, it was like it's raw and he's got so much talent, but it's raw and we got to work with him and we got to do all this stuff. No, Randy Gregory is talented. Period. That's it. You ain't got to add on.
He stops the run like he does, lets you know that he watches a lot of film.
Yeah, and so when Colin's getting upset about this prototype deal and having this conversation with his dad or his parents about it, and he asked a very important question: why am I always having to prove him wrong?
Right.
And the answer they gave him is because you're strong enough.
Yeah.
So now y'all God.
And then with the baseball thing. Baseball is it's an old sport. Every single year they get upset about bat flips. They get upset about you running them down the bases too fast, too slow, pointing at somebody. It's always something. So, I loved baseball growing up, but as of late, I rarely watch it. I don't think I watched 0.5 seconds of the World Series. And before, I would be something I would be glued to.
Later in my notes, I put on there, I said Major League Baseball should be embarrassed. And I said baseball in general, they should be embarrassed at this, man. I'm serious. The things that come out about baseball across the country that came out in this documentary, baseball as a whole, but Major League Baseball in particular, they should be embarrassed. And I know they already are, because back 20 years ago when I was coaching, they had a program trying to get black kids into more playing baseball, because they know, just like golf, just like tennis, it's a rich man's sport. And a lot of black kids can't afford to be on these traveling teams. They got the talent to do so, but these talented teams is where you're getting looked at for these scholarships and things of that nature.
Yeah. And if we 100% real about it, honestly, Major League Baseball is an international sport. There is Dominican Republic. I don't know the stats, but I'm pretty sure that it's at upwards of 50% 40, somewhere around there. Dominican Republic,
Latin, yeah.
All over the country, really, even like Japanese and Asian players. So I mean, like,
and then you know what? I was proud of him highlighting that the artist he highlighted, but it would have been even better if he'd have highlighted the most famous black player in the history of the world that don't nobody talk about, George Herman Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
That dude,
he's a black dude.
Yeah, he's a black man, and they know it.
Yeah,
Ty Cobb used to call him nigger lips.
Wow, did not know that.
So
yeah, which in that episode he talked about the brother that could have been Jackie Robinson before Jackie Robinson, but he didn't want to play as a black man. They said, no, you got to play as a black man. I mean, as a white man. And he was like, no, I ain't doing it. You know, but in this episode, his parents also told him, don't be too overly ambitious. And isn't that something that we hear far too often?
Yeah.
Malcolm, now you know they ain't not gonna let no niggas be a lawyer. You good with your hands. You can be a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter.
Jesus was a carpenter, exactly. They pull that line out. Yeah, newsflash, he did a whole bunch of other stuff too. So
and he said something powerful too. He's like, you know, and these people who try to deny it, Colin was like, to a certain extent, this is human nature. He goes, they're picking the people who look like them. He goes, and who wouldn't want somebody to start that look like them? Who wouldn't want to start in their own image, et cetera, et cetera. So he said, hey, y'all are being short-sighted at least. Yeah, which is another reason why you need to have more black coaches and personnel guys and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so you remove the human nature factor. NFL quarterbacks in this one.
Yeah, he did. 70% black, but only a third of the quarterbacks were black.
Right. And what he said, and what y'all was talking about, like I was just talking about the athleticism and how we're natural talent. I saw an interview about 6 months ago. It was Deshaun Watson, Warren Moon. I can't think of the third dude. And it might have been Jackson. And Moon and Watson said they didn't max out on their 40s because they didn't want to get pushed over that.
Wow.
Moon literally said, hey, man, he said, I ran like a 4.40, but I wasn't going to run it in front of them.
Yeah.
He said, because I would have been running that fast, then I would have been a wide receiver.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, two things I wanted to point out. He started working with Roger Theater at the Skyline Quarterback Academy. And so that kind of, I did respect his dad kind of on the sports aspect, because he did push him to he did help him get opportunities, but a lot of other stuff there was clueless. But I think on that aspect, specifically the football, because he knew this is what he wanted to do, so he tried to get him in different avenues. So I wanted to point out that point. And did y'all see when he was on his computer looking up? He was watching TV or something, and in the background it said college football playoff. Did y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously they didn't have college football playoff.
They have it then.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool little reference I wanted to take a note of. But yeah, I think he again, it goes back to the talent. And then they got the lanky kid, which are like, oh well, that's who we really want. You mean the lanky kid that can't throw? You mean the dude that can't remember plays? You mean the dude that sucks? That's the dude that you want? And they will try at all possible costs to get that guy. Colton Court. At all possible costs to get that guy.
Yeah, I like the other black kid who was at that camp, and he had been at that camp before and kind of took him under his wing. He could see he was struggling with what was happening, and he told him, you just need to focus on listening. Just listen, whatever. So Colin came to him a few weeks later and said, hey, I appreciate your advice. You told me just shut up and listen. He says, I didn't tell you to shut up.
Right.
He said, I told you to listen, but I didn't tell you to shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was big.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, definitely. Because it's like you don't allow them to take your voice.
Mm-hmm.
You still represent who you are and your product. You don't shut up. You don't back down.
Right.
Unfortunately, Michael, we just on episode 2. We need to pick up the pace.
Yeah, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. Yeah, we're on episode 2. Michael, thank you for tuning in. Also, this is DJ King Royal. Thank you for tuning in. Said what's good. All right, so episode 3, talking about road trip. Man, this one was, it starts off about the kneeling, but then it gets to, they're going on the traveling camps, traveling baseball games and stuff like that, like Dawk talked about. And his dad's driving. I knew where they were going with this immediately from the jump. His dad's driving, and it's like, he's going over the speed limit, and he just waves. Right. And then it just goes into the double standards, and him being in a hotel. So this was I think a very what kind of shaped Kaepernick, because we think the story goes that Kaepernick just like one day woke up and became that way. And no, there's stuff along his life. And episode 3, I think, was a major part of his life that kind of brought him to the point where he was at.
Yeah, he made a great point at the beginning of this episode too about Black Reconstruction, and he talked about the commonalities between Black and white workers and then public deference. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Y'all paid us the same wage, but they can do more with their wage than we can do with ours. They got access to places that we don't. Right. So even though we were paid the same wage and theoretically you could call us both poor, they're still freely admitted into everything they want to go into, and we're not. Right. So I thought that was a fantastic point to start this episode.
Yeah. So his dad's driving, and to the point, I think Charlotte made this point that his dad's driving, not playing anything that he wants to listen to. I get it. You're the dad. I'm saying, like, if you want to get to know your kid, you got to sometimes do the stuff that they want to do. You can't just do what you, if you really want to kind of tap in. And then the part where he was cold, which his mom was always saying, like he was saying that he always got sick. Yeah, he always got sick. So the fact that he's cold, which eventually he's going to end up being sick, which eventually is going to prevent him from playing or either hampering his playing.
Yeah, it was tone deaf, to say the least.
Exactly.
Once again, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This series was very good. Is there going to, I'm assuming, be more? It says season 1, so I don't know. I'm sure they would love to bring out a season 2 because there's a lot more. Obviously, this brought him up to college, so you can go college.
Up until now.
Up until now, yeah. Or you can do a college and then you can do an NFL up until now. So
the thing is, when you start destroying these falsehoods that these people have laid out in front of us, they'll put it to an end, because if you show if they mess around and show the real story, this could break the NFL's back. A lot of people will back clean the hell up off the NFL, because I listened to this one show on Urban View on Sirius Satellite Radio Channel 126, like I'm doing a promo. But Karen Hunter, me and Mayhem, we talked about that a few times. Karen Hunter had a legion of people that didn't know about the combine, and they was like, I ain't watching no more. So if this continues, it may hurt the NFL, and if it hurt the NFL, they gonna slide Netflix some money to tell Ava DuVernay to kick rocks and flip flops. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at Lovecraft Country and see the season 2 format of it, and they have the United States mapped out, and in the northeast of the country, it was called the White Land. And then from Texas, it was called the indigenous lands and things of that nature. And then had the black lands. And the way she described the white lands was zombies. That some of them mostly slow, but some of them are pretty fast. And when you start exposing things like that to the general public, people start backing up off things. People innately will wake up. So we would like to see 2, but is it gonna be 2?
Well, I'll say this. Dawk, I think we got a new avenue here. Ava DuVernay, hit us up. If for some reason they don't want it, we'll take it. We got the platform.
Absolutely. Hey, run it back.
Love Calf Country. We'll do that too. Anything. I mean,
Love Calf Country. The sister who's doing that. This is her second #1 hit show that's been canceled. If you really want to see the beginning of her work, go see Underground. Powerful, well done. I mean, it shows you every aspect of slavery. Then that show took off, and they got rid of it. Right when she bought in Harriet Tubman, oh,
yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Slow down. Now she's doing this, but the one Achilles heel that America has is capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
When it's money to be made,
yeah,
and you don't really need, see, Netflix potentially can be bought off. She's talking to Apple TV now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they print more money than NFL.
Yeah.
right.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I'm telling. That's what I was trying to illustrate when we talked about the harder they fall last week. There's enough power there that they don't need anybody's permission to do anything.
Right.
Period. They just got to have the commitment to come together and say, hey, we're going to put this means enough to us that we're going to,
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, I think those are the kind of people who do.
Now, Michael, yes, this is the episode where, his dad was driving over the speed limit at least 3 times. And then Kaepernick gets in the driver's seat. And if you notice, he's double checking and triple checking, I think because he's nervous. But obviously, we all know we all know that you got to do that. You got to do that regardless.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be highlighted. So yeah, he ends up getting pulled over. Like that scene right there, that hurt right there. Because at that moment, they could have stepped in his shoes, but it was like, oh, you dodged the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just like it was a brush off.
Yeah,
right. No.
Hey, I wrote down. I said, at this point, I've grown tired of writing down all the instances of racism. It's like I got 3 sheets now, and it's like if I'd have kept writing down every single instance of racism that he had to endure, I'd have been there. Really, I'd have did more writing than watching.
And in those hotels, so many different scenes where they're like, "Whoa, y'all okay?"
Mm-hmm.
Like this dude. At this point in Kaepernick's life,
and they didn't wake up. They got to ask that question so many times, and it never dawned on them.
Right.
Why do we keep asking this question?
They always made a joke.
Yeah, you have the nerve to ask me. You have to talk to me. You have to tell me what's wrong. What? You didn't see what just happened? Like you just refused to see what just happened. Like I shouldn't have to tell you anything.
Mm-hmm. You just there.
1979. This is the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in this episode, they talked about microaggression, which is strong too. If for no other reason, just their explanation and illustration of that is worth it.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to kind of go to a point where, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. But have we experienced these situations in hotels or places? Which I was at a store and the guy was like, "You stealing something?" I'm like, "I got money. Why would I steal some honey buns? Why would I steal something in this store?" That was kind of
that was a shot at me. Yeah, I get you.
But I'm saying, why is the initial thought when you see a black kid that they're trying to steal something?
Yeah.
Right.
Like because we're stolen.
Wow.
It's true.
I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that all of us have experienced one or all of these instances. So yeah, no doubt.
The pool thing, you could see that she was looking at him like, "You gonna dirty up the water?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they did a great job. They did a great job of speaking without speaking in this film too. Great job.
Being said, one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. And then there was another line where I think it was the lady. He was in the hotel and he grabbed an apple or something. And she was like, "Oh, y'all okay?" And then she was like, "Oh, that's your son." Which at first she was like, "Oh, what? That's your son? What's that?"
Oh, I wanted to adopt one of those.
She said, "I wanted to get one of those too." That goes back to the animal thing that HRap said, and he didn't correct it. That's the point. It's one thing when you just accept it and you correct it, but there's another thing when you just let it slide, as if this person is really not me. He's not really in.
I wonder with these 2 actors, like after going over these lines and saying these lines, I wonder if they went back and noticed like just how oblivious some white people are to certain things.
Yeah,
even if they want to remain.
Yeah, you'd hope, man.
Point is, even with some white who wants to emphasize with our struggles, not to his father.
Empathize, I think, is what he wanted to say. Empathize.
Empathize. Not to his father had empathy, but they can never understand our practical pain. I mean, they were not relating to it.
It's like,
but to be oblivious to it is another thing, though, Mike. You know, that's the problem. I'm not asking you to relate. You'll never be able to fully relate. I get that. But there's a difference between fully relating and being completely oblivious to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a nice woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at the end of this episode, I had white people need to watch this and exclamation points, because it shows intentionally or unintentionally things that you do.
Right.
But you know what, man? I agree with you. As many people need to watch this worldwide so they can get a peek into what we deal with. But I don't think white people need to watch this really, because they know. See, I think that's the problem. Like I hear a lot of people shocked that the boy Rittenhouse got off. I hear a lot of people shocked that they think when they're gonna be shocked when Ahmaud Arbery's killers get off. And then you just have to ask yourself, why are we shocked?
Right. Exactly.
Because it's set up that way.
Exactly.
The Rittenhouse thing was set up from the jump.
I'm gonna have to slightly disagree about, you said they know. There is a segment of the population who knows, but I think there are a lot who are ignorant to the fact, right? And the reason why I say this is because I used to teach this course, take this diversity workshop, right? I taught it whenever I worked at this insurance company, and then me and a buddy of mine started our own company where we taught it. And one of the largest cities in the DFW area, we trained all of their department heads, right? And I literally have seen the shock on white people's faces when some things were said in those workshops, to where they had no clue that we were feeling this way. So I think there's a large segment of the population that has no clue as to what we're going through, because they've never been exposed to us, right? They have not even been around Black people their entire lives, let alone can understand our plight. And just because they see it on TV, they automatically dismiss it as whatever, right? But to experience in that way, to experience it from this perspective, I think would change a lot of their perspective, and they would probably be shocked. And
me and Wilks have an ex coworker that
easy.
Literally
easy.
No, he wouldn't understand. He would be good. He knows what. If he was watching this, he wouldn't say.
Yeah, we can't support you here at BS3 Network. You need to keep this job, man. Easy.
Hey, you don't work there no more. You don't work there no more. But he would agree.
Yeah.
But
no,
the right
that's
way
one thing about
Richard.
It.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one thing about Richard. He was always kind of he was always open to try to understand. Where he didn't understand, he would always ask questions. And that's what I always, and me and him, if he was in the comment room right now, he would tell you, we always talked about trying to understand. And even when it hurts, you're trying to understand. You're trying to get it. You want to understand it. And this business, and like I told him, we're not going to always agree, and that's okay, because that's what makes it all right. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't even need you to apologize. I just need you to, at times, understand that moment and how it got like this. That's all I need you to do. That's all I need you to do.
Yeah, and that's the way to approach it. And I agree. That's what I appreciated. We would have conversations that would be uncomfortable to people, but it was important we had those conversations because, like Dawk said, he really did not know. It wasn't like he ignored it. He did not know. But the thing that you need to do is get into a situation and into a one-on-one conversation, into a group maybe, and ask the questions that you have. Don't assume, and then you make a statement on assuming, because then you look stupid.
See, that's why sometimes go ahead, HRap, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing.
That's why I said I wish sometimes they would do real townhouse on TV. Like, not with political figures, not with people that just, I don't know, did a 12-hour shift at the local precinct. Like, talk to local people in the neighborhood and sit there and ask these people these questions. Why are people yelling? Why are they upset? Have that conversation about racism or that oblivious state that you're in. Talk about it, scream at each other, but then calm down and work through it. Again, figure out how it got like this. Right. I don't want to see somebody that's been in office for 12 years trying to talk to me about the shooting that happened last, some crap like that. Like, you've got to figure out that situation with people that are on that level, that are living that daily. I don't want to see some special report from NBC with somebody. I'm like, no, like, have a real town hall meeting. Like, just somebody.
Soledad O'Brien.
You're right. I don't need Brian Gumble up there talking.
Yeah, really. Now, Ray DeCav, I agree with you, though. I mean, we are shocked because we underestimate their lack of humanity. But again, if we rewind,
people who claim to be Christians, man.
If we rewind back, there was no humanity from the beginning. So I'm becoming less and less surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Less and less surprised.
At that point,
Ray DeCav, if you have not already, this will change your life. Watch Exterminate All the Brutes. I'm telling you.
It's been in everything we talked about.
Everything. On every aspect. So, yep, they're ignorant, but they're also scared to really experience what happened and to sit in the feeling.
Exactly.
That's what Mika said is what I should have said. What Mika just said is what I should have said.
Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable to sit in that spot.
Right. And be uncomfortable.
But it's
That's the only way you're going to get to the other side of it.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to lose that. What's the word? I think I'm going to misuse it. But they don't want to.
There's a bliss in ignorance. That's what they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose that bliss.
Because then you have to make up for it.
There's a bliss in ignorance, buddy.
Yeah.
Conscientious stupidity.
All right, let's move on to episode 4, The Decision, which play the game the right way.
The white way.
Yeah.
White way.
That's he immediately said, playing the game the right way is playing it the white way.
And I remember that. As a kid, and like, don't be Bush League, don't be
right. Oh, we heard that. Man, if we wasn't running low on time, I would tell y'all what we did to this team at the Ozzie Smith Complex in O'Fallon, Missouri, who said, y'all are Bush League. And the display of baseball technical excellence that we put on to run y'all off this field to show y'all Bush League.
Right.
We did everything. We did the hit and run. We were doing a suicide squeeze. We did every technical play to manufacture runs that you could do. So much so to where all the fields in that complex saying, hey, this black team over here is about to suicide squeeze for the 4th time in a row. They knew it was coming and could not stop it. So, and you motivated us because you said they Bush League over there. Because we had so much speed when we got on the bases, we finna run. We didn't care who you were. We run.
Now, and one thing I appreciated about my little league team was the coach. So I played on this team. It was called the Kappas. This was in the Bay Area.
The who?
The Kappas. Like, Kappas actually sponsored the team. So the guy was a lawyer. No, he was an accountant, but I mean, he coached, and I mean that goes back. This could be a whole nother episode. But the coaches that you have growing up instill in you those things that later on in life you can still go back. I still remember him, and so I just wanted to kind of touch on.
You getting teary eyed over there?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I have a lot of my players reaching out to me quite frequently, man, about the things that I taught them, and it's amazing the impact we have on folks, and you don't necessarily realize that it's not only an impact for that game, it's an impact for their life, Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Salute to Coach Willie Green, salute to Coach Jimmy Fields.
Yep. All right, so the decision, which he was trying to decide baseball or people were trying to decide for him baseball or football, but he wanted football all the way. his baseball coach was getting on my nerves. I was like, I mean, at some point, if you go in the office, I think he knew what he was going into because he kept going in the office and he just kept going through that same spiel of, well, you messing up your life and it's gonna be bad for you if you end up going football.
And he's trying to throw money at him and
root beer.
I thought
I gotta make a run when I leave. I can't be.
I thought it was a red stripe.
I'm going to the white lands. I'm going to that area. You got to do.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, but when he made a comment, he said that something about baseball always felt off, and I can relate. There's an air. There's something that. It's like you ain't welcome, man. You get this look from you, man, from folks. And again, I'm speaking from experience. All over the country, we took these teams to, man, and I felt it. So when he said that, I'm like, you are absolutely right.
And I think his coach sabotaged him.
Say that again.
Yeah.
I think his coach sabotaged him. There's no way on God's green earth. His coach wanted him to play baseball, and because he wanted him to play baseball, he didn't send out his videos.
Oh, yeah.
He badmouthed them to other coaches. Maybe he didn't want to say that, but trust me, man.
Yeah, no question.
You can find
Yao
Ming, if you can find Ben Simmons, if you can find Akeem Olajuwon, if you can find Dikembe Mutombo, if you can find all those cats from Euro football, Euro basketball, there is no way in hell in the heart of California you can't find a 6'3" dude with a rocket arm.
Right, no question.
Yeah.
Hell, there no HBCUs. Look him up.
Right. Yeah, really, that was interesting. None. Now he was in Cali, but still.
Because there's no way you could be announced on ESPN as one of the best high school football players in the state of California, where everybody and their mama, either you are coming from Texas, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, or California for all sports, right? Especially football. The best football players in the National Football League come from California, Texas, right on over to Florida.
That's why 100%. You just got the order wrong, but you're right. Texas, California, then Florida. But you're right.
I was going but no, you joking, but you're right.
Yeah.
If you a football player in Texas and you average, you go somewhere else and you the man.
That's right.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah. There he is. Sure enough, aka Big Illinois in the building.
Fresh out.
But yeah, man, it was this guy was a legit two sport athlete.
Really,
great at it.
Really,
basketball too.
Yeah, really,
basketball too. And then he pitched a no-hitter with pneumonia.
Yeah,
I mean that's like the flu game right there.
Yeah. And I thought it was.
Let's Scottie Pippen here about it.
Before we moved off of this episode, the fact that his friend kept ditching him, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yes,
and I knew long before why he was ditching him. Before they said it, so I thought that was pretty cool. He's like, "You don't want this."
Really, you don't want the smoke. You don't want this. But I made that note too that his friend saved him from some situations.
And he was like, he goes, why we're supposed to be friends and you don't ever take me, you always ditch me. He goes, I'm ditching you because you are my friend.
Right.
And that was pretty cool. Think of how many folks would have operated in jealousy and been trying to get him to go with him anyway.
Yeah.
And subconsciously been trying to sabotage him.
Absolutely. And see, that's the difference in these kids now and then. Colin is the last generation of friends. Now you just hang out with people.
Hard to argue that, man.
It's just
hard to argue that.
Hey, man, I got some friends. I got some cousins who just saved my life. Let's just leave it there. I'm gonna tell you
a lot of situations.
When the show over, when we do our,
I waited when you was in Texas. When you was in Texas, I waited till you went to sleep before I went and did some stuff because I knew I needed to get you back to Chicago without no record.
Man.
Yeah, so I saved your life too 3 times when you was in Texas. You didn't even know it.
That's why I'm moving down there.
Michael, good point. Baseball is a sport that white people still want to preserve as theirs. They might let some diversity, however, remember your place. And now the problem is that they can't preserve it. It's over. Yeah. It's over. As much as you try to preserve it, it's over. You look at that Atlanta Braves team, I don't even know the roster, but at least half is from somewhere other than Caucasian. Okay.
He said they from somewhere other than Caucasian. I didn't know Caucasian was a place.
Hey, it is tonight.
They got Ron Washington over there. So
Caucasian.
Golden Brooks. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh god.
All right, man. So if y'all had a choice, and you were in Colin's position, baseball or football, which one would you choose? Dawk.
I'd have to know. See, I'm wise enough to know that the money is in baseball, but it's more difficult to crack the major leagues in baseball. So no doubt I'd go to football. You know, I'm with him. You know, right. I get more enjoyment out of the sport of football than I do baseball, and because there is, like he said, something feels off. For those people who have been in and around baseball, there is nobody of our color who would disagree with that statement that he's made. There's something a little off, man. Yeah.
Wilks?
It would be football. Kind of like what Dawk said. I mean, you got people out there that have made it undrafted or never got drafted. Not even batting an eye at. You know, it's like that's a pretty significant choice. I would definitely have to say football. That's maybe one in a million. I mean, I don't know, but it's
let me give a caveat to that. Now, I may give different advice if I'm talking to a kid who has some size issues, right? You know, like they a little small with no speed or something of that nature, but they got some baseball skill. I may push them there because I know it's going to be more difficult for them to advance in football. Yeah. But for the most part, if you got the size, speed, and ability to do either, well, it's football all day for me.
Yeah. HRap?
Well, I started loving football by default. I started off on the west side of Chicago playing basketball, and I was pretty good for my age. And my cousin was even better. And I come from a basketball family, and I let people talk me out of basketball because I was physical, and I didn't know physicality was a plus as you got older. And then
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Right. But, you know, this is pre-Barkley. This is Dr. J.
Dennis Rodman.
Right. So I would say I would have went with football simply because that's what he truly loved. What you're good at and what you love may be two different things.
That's it, man.
Now, I love basketball, but I had a bunch of dudes. Oh, man, you're too physical. They used to say, you're too wild. You're too wild. And then we moved to the north side, and I was mad at my mother for moving me off the north side. So I wouldn't play sports with my friends who are my lifetime friends to this. Michael Neal. I wouldn't play basketball because I was angry to be up there. But you know, you're a kid, you're gonna make friends. And everybody up there was football crazy. So it was like, okay, I like football, so I'm gonna play it. And I actually love football, but I would have did like if I can go back, I would have stayed with basketball just like he stayed with football. So yeah, I would have picked football too. Yeah, because it ain't when you're a kid. Like, and that's what they ruin with these kids today. When you were a kid, when we were kids, it was about, yeah, I want to be a professional athlete. That's where it stopped.
You just play whatever.
And then I was going to get this much money. It was, I want to be Dr. J. I want to be Walter Payton. I want to be a hero. Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson. I want to be Warren Moon. I want to be Lawrence Taylor. It wasn't, and then I'm gonna have as much money as them. It was I want to be like them on the field.
Right.
I want to be that good. It's no longer that good. It's money, which destroys the whole thing. And that's why they control these young men, because they flash that dollar in front of them. Hell, I came from the project, so don't tell me that, oh man, so you ain't come from hard. Man, my mama was the mother of 3 kids with a dead fiance and an ex-husband that wasn't helping. So I know what poor is. But it wasn't about the money with us. It was about, I'm gonna be the best dude on Cedric Street. I'm gonna be the best dude on Washburn. I'm gonna be the best dude in K-Town. You know, but yeah, I would have did exactly what he did, and and as stubborn as I am, I would have played it the same way.
Yeah,
I would have played it the same way. Well, you know what? But me, I would have said, I'm going to JC though. I would have went to the JC, because what they didn't show you, JC's was throwing nice money.
Yeah. And so if I was him, I would definitely go the football route, because then you don't want to be going towards baseball and you have regrets, you know, because of that. And his passion was football. And he held out to the absolute last moment, you know, going fast forward in some. He had no offers. Nevada was it, and that was at the last minute. At school, they called him. Wisconsin was his dream school, and he didn't get the offer there.
Oh, but I love this comment. Barry Alvarez definitely wasn't going to offer him, because that's who the coach was during that period.
Yeah, I love this comment. Excellence is our legacy. I love that comment right there. All right, so he had all these people's opinions. Was it episode 4 that I think he started liking the girl, or was that episode 5? I think that was episode 5.
Okay, it don't make a difference.
Yeah. But you know, the funny thing I wanted to bring up too is that everybody kept saying you could be the next Dave Winfield, you could be the next Dontrell Willis. And I'm like, they're just coming out all kinds of like every black name they can think about. You could be the next this, the next that. Like,
and Dave Winfield is exactly what we're talking about. Dave Winfield was drafted in the ABA. He was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. He was drafted by the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I like that. And they challenged his knowledge on that too. And I like the way he ran it down to him. He like, I know who these folks are, you know, and they were like, oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So he like, you ain't telling me nothing I don't know.
And
I gotta do my homework.
Right. And then the difference in the households. They're like, oh, you want a plate? And then, oh, you want some, they ain't even asking. They just had a bowl of trail mix. A bowl of Chex Mix on the table.
Right, at a home kind. But one of the things that I liked about this documentary in the series is that they started each episode with some knowledge and they ended each episode with some knowledge.
Yeah.
And on this episode, they said beauty is in the eye of the beholder, except when what we behold has been manipulated. And I can't, that was super strong, right? Yeah. And I added to that. I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, except when what we behold has been manipulated, contaminated, and aggravated.
What purpose is not known.
I ain't tripping. Somebody who likes, I ain't tripping. If we got somebody who prefers light-skinned folks, or prefers dark-skinned folks, or prefer white chicks, or prefer Mexican chicks, hey, if you like it, I love it. Just make sure you have a clear eye view. Right. You know, make sure you know why you like it.
Right.
Make sure you know why you with it.
That's a great point. A great comment here about Michael. I was exceptional at basketball, football, dancing, and breezed through academia. Like
he's not lying.
But my real life heroes were gang leaders, hustlers, and pimps.
Yeah. Hey.
So he was good at dancing too.
St. Louis Slim,
man.
Who Kansas City Red? Who you talking about?
Yeah. No, man. Me and Mike grew up together. Mike, one of those dudes that I befriended, even though I didn't want to play. I'm from the West Side. I don't want to do that. But I still made friends, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to play. I would literally. I was so hell bent on doing it my way, and my mother moving back to the West Side. I would hang out with Mike and Sean Jones and our whole crew, 25, 30 of us, and then catch the bus back to the West Side to participate in sports. So,
environmental is key on what we produce in our community.
Oh yes,
absolutely. Tonight. Episode 5, to the point of Dawk, they go into the doll test, which, yeah, that is that statement that you just made, and it's sad that's what, even at babies at less than 3 years old, it's the programming, TV programming. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that one hurt, man.
Yeah. So a couple things in episode 5.
Blue black.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And that came from the black kid.
Yeah, right.
To where the mama had to say, "What is blue black?"
Yeah, really.
Right.
But the part that really pissed me off with that is when she slid the other picture in the drawer and put the old the new picture up.
Right. Like, come on, man.
That's why I said she wanted blackface whiteness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She was pushing him. She was pushing him in that direction.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, really, after this came out, like, did your parents ask questions? Did you ask them questions? I mean, I wonder just how this conversation, how these things went. Because are you still oblivious? Do you want to remain oblivious? You want to remain ignorant? You know, I don't know.
What was the dialogue after this came out?
Still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you need to do in part 2.
Right.
But let your parents do the dialoguing.
When he went to homecoming with the black chick, and he was over to her spot, and he saw the pie. He go, "I love pumpkin pie."
They was like, "Hold up!"
They just started laughing.
Slow down,
baby. This ain't pumpkin pie.
No, baby.
Yeah, a lot of y'all gonna figure that out on the Sunday. It's gonna be some pumpkin pie stories Thursday, ain't it?
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, but you know what was good about this? That sister who was like, "You got an uncle." It was good to see her in this.
Yeah.
Because that's the girl from Hustle and Flow.
Yeah,
she was in that movie with
I hadn't seen her in a while.
Was she in Friday too or something?
Yeah. She was Ice Cube's girlfriend in Friday.
Yeah.
And
Janet Jackson's friend.
Yeah, Janet Jackson's friend.
Don't ever.
That's my favorite scene. Hey, most people don't catch her when she checking Craig. She laying in the bed with a dude.
I have to go back and watch that.
Next time you watch Friday, she laying in the bed, Craig, and she's a dude laying right next to her.
Wow.
Yeah, that's back when Chris Tucker was funny.
Yeah. Back when he was relevant.
Email me. You got a problem with it?
Where that email at? What that email at?
Back when Chris Tucker was funny. Messed around and got saved. It ain't funny no more.
I'm curious about what his parents feel about his activism. That's really. I have not heard a lot. So I don't think it needs to be a part 2. I think that needs to be their part 3, right? I think part 2 needs to be his college to NFL stuff, right? Yeah. Do 6 more episodes, then come out with a debrief afterwards and talk about the people in his life and how they reacted to it and what their relationship is, and has he had conversations with them about it, et cetera, et cetera.
He had any conversations with his actual mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
yeah. Yeah. I wonder if he knows who they are and stuff like that.
That's one of my points also after this came out, and even before it. Did his parents ever catch up to their behavior? I wonder that. They in this series, they didn't. I was so disappointed in us as a people every time one of our stick his or her neck out for us. and you never get the support
Right.
that is needed. So then this episode 5, the old school Taco Bell cups. That was a good reference. I worked at Taco Bell in high school. Man, if any of my friends was in here, man, we was just giving out food. But anyway, so that Taco Bell probably not there anymore. So I ain't liable for that no more.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, really.
And then
Nina Simone.
McDonald's shut down thanks to me in Big Illinois.
Yeah, I was giving out them emails then too. Anyway, the Nina Simone clip.
For those in the Garland area, you know how I rock that Little Caesars.
we all got that spot.
See, Little Caesars, you pay for a pizza, they get the money. You pay for the next pizza, I get the money. You pay for the pizza, they get the money.
Hey, Dawk. Hey, watch this, Dawk.
Trade off.
I got one better for you. When I worked at McDonald's, quarter-pound meal was $3.40. I showed them $3.40, then hit the daily double meal until I got $20 in bank.
Wow.
You just keep showing, flipping. There's this dude next to me one day. I'm gonna tell y'all his name off air. I cannot say that. Brady Kev know his name, but he tried to do it. But this dummy couldn't count.
Register came up.
Me running the lick, but I'm doing daily doubles and quarter pounder meals and stuff like that. So once I got the $20, instead of having 75 ones in my pocket, 120.
Right.
Yeah.
So once I got to that,
I'm telling Grimace. Hey, wasn't Grimace the Hamburglar?
No, Grimace was the
purple
dude, the
big
purple
The
dude.
statute of limitations is over on this.
Oh yeah, that's over.
That's over with, yeah.
Hey, the dude next to me, I'm ringing up the popular food. This jackass is ringing up grilled chickens. He done sold more grilled chickens in one day than they sold off.
Wow.
They was like,
wow.
And he tried to snitch on me. Him too. I was like, nope.
No,
Yeah.
not me. Not me.
Nobody
Jim.
eat no grilled chickens?
Right.
Yeah, really. Not especially not then.
No.
I didn't know they had grilled chicken on them. We had Happy Meal, Big Macs. We wouldn't eat no chicken. Chicken nuggets. That was it.
Small fries, Big Mac, UB.
Hey, watch this. Hey, Dawk, watch this. Do y'all remember when McDonald's used to sell their food a la carte?
I remember that.
When you had to buy fries, pop, and sandwich.
I don't.
I think I remember that.
Separately. I don't remember that.
I may have
In
seen
the
something. I'd have to see something. An example.
Did y'all catch the Nina Simone clip at the end of
Oh, yeah.
episode 5? I thought that
Yes.
was
Absolutely
powerful right there. That was powerful.
That's what they need to do a movie on, Nina.
Yeah.
Really?
And I had no idea that in 2019, for the first time ever, all major beauty queens were black.
Yeah.
But what
I don't know either.
but what I put is that it took to nobody ain't watching that shit no more for that to happen.
Because I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
You feel me? Now that ain't
Right.
nobody watching, okay, y'all gonna do it the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I learned that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Hey, we still won. I don't give a damn who won. Keep looking the other way. Y'all know.
Episode 6, Dear Colin. And this kind of brought it all
Very
home.
neat. Yeah, very neat way they did this.
Great.
Yep. See,
Great
Mike,
job.
remember?
Happy Meal was the only combo. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just remember Happy Meal, so I was maybe my parents was ordering a la carte. So. But it opened up since the day I was born. I was never anybody's first choice.
Mm.
Like how he didn't cry saying that, I don't know.
Oh, how he didn't cry.
Oh, he
Shit,
didn't
I was
cry.
gonna say, hey, I cried. Coming out, episode 6 was look here on boy.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah, and I don't know if I think maybe Dawk mentioned this, but man, the all black with the afro, dude was looking smooth, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was getting this Morpheus on.
Exactly. Red pill, blue pill.
Oh, wasn't that the girl that was in the I guess barbershop, beauty salon, whatever? Wasn't that her also about to braid his afro when he was sitting there?
Yeah.
She kind of looked at the camera and then she kind of went into grading it, but that was pretty neat.
Because he said it was what 15 years or something that
14.
Yeah,
From
14?
he said it been 14 after they made him cut it off.
Yeah. Which that's still going on today in schools. Cut your hair, you don't play.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah.
Cut your braids and you don't play. Yes, very, very deep statement, heartfelt. So traveling to camps, his baseball coach was desperate at this point. He was so desperate.
Oh my gosh.
He was obviously getting something in return.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, there's no way that you continue to berate a kid,
right?
Unless you got a kickback coming. Something coming.
Yeah, he's probably trying to get on one of them staffs. I can get him to your school if
I get Kaepernick.
So here go the game right here. What school you leaning toward? I'm leaning toward UTEP. Okay, cool. All right, well, but just keep thinking about it, et cetera, et cetera. As soon as that kid walk out the office, hey, I can get Kaepernick for you.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna need to manage him though. So he's a little, but if I'm there, I can, I get him the signs. That's the game right there.
Jalen Rose coach did it.
Huh?
Jalen Rose coach did it.
Got to college with
Kerry Watson was on the Michigan staff. That's Jalen Rose high school basketball coach.
Oh wow.
Danny Manning daddy did it.
Oh yeah, that's the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Danny Manning daddy coached at Kansas for 4 years.
He was out of there.
See ya.
But it's a paycheck.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it ain't even the parent's idea. It's the school idea because they know that's another way I can get you paid legitimately.
Yeah. Right. And did y'all notice they had the Reggie Bush? They was talking about the Heisman. It was
That's
Reggie
right.
Bush, Leinard, and
Vince Young.
He mentioned Vince Young.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve McNair. He kept Vince Young right.
Yeah.
The disappointment when he didn't get the Wisconsin, man, that hurt. That hurt seeing that, man. Because I'm gonna run to my room and get the call. You thinking, this is it? This is the one I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
And that one he got turned down. But you just think of the ups and downs of a high school athlete. You going to school, obviously you probably dating, you may be working a part-time job. For him, you got your parents that's clueless. You dealing with the race, you trying to understand. Like he was still trying to understand who he was. And then you got coaches telling you, well, you should play baseball. That's for you. Right. But I think his football coaches, I appreciated them because they were like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Not all of them. That freshman coach.
That freshman coach, though, you need to be slapped.
But then varsity staff was what was up.
Yeah.
The varsity staff was looking at state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the freshman coach was trying to convince him, hey, why don't you get Mr. Lonnie Lanky over here? He's doing a great job. They're like, bro, nah, sit down, son.
Yeah, go have a seat.
Let him play with you one more year.
Right, exactly. You can coach him on your team. Yeah. Then he finally got that Nevada offer, which we knew. I knew he played in Nevada. I didn't know how it all went down, but the fact that was his only offer, but he took it.
He made it work.
He took it, and he did get drafted actually by the Cubs. So if y'all remember that point where the Cubs guy was there,
he did play a little bit.
I guess
I don't know if he played, but he got drafted. Yeah.
He got drafted, but he decided to go ahead and do football. But
they said they were going to draft him regardless.
Right. And like I said at the beginning of this, everybody that wonders about Colin Kaepernick and why, if you want to know anything, you have to watch this. I don't care what side of anything you're on. You have to watch this, or you will never know, or you will just continue to assume.
Yeah, they'll go learn about Martin Luther King and quote me Martin Luther King quotes, but they won't go learn about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I call Martin Luther King Day. White people quote me Martin Luther King quotes. Here we go.
Yeah.
Man, I just got some bad news.
What?
Malika Shabazz was found dead in her apartment today.
No kidding.
Malcolm X's youngest, the one who.
Not the one on the documentary.
No. That's somebody. That's I can't think of her name, but Malik is the one that they tried to put in jail.
Oh, wait a minute. That was I'm getting this. That was like, That was a few days ago.
Oh, I just got the notification today.
Is that the one that had the disagreement with Farrakhan?
Allegedly, yeah. The one that they made reference to her attempting to kill him, but then that came out to be false because it was obvious. You ain't finna go to Minnesota to find nobody kill nobody.
Yeah, not happening.
Wow.
But yeah, this is one of the twins that was pregnant with Betty. That Betty was pregnant with.
Oh.
Because she's only 56.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
Look just like her dad.
Yeah, it's conflicting because it may have just happened today. It may have just happened today.
Wow. Well, rest in peace, man. That's
because it say 10:21 p.m., 10:15 p.m., which is 11:15 now.
Wow.
That's tough to see, especially a lot of the Malcolm X films that we reviewed. I mean, at least 4.
Yeah, man. They're trying to hurry up and erase his legacy before they have to pay.
They're still trying to tear down his house. They were trying to save it, but they don't want to restore it.
Yeah. She was the one who said she plotted to kill Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, and the minister said it wasn't so. Yeah. To this point by Michael, yeah, that's obviously that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mel Tucker, I don't know if y'all heard about that contract that they're trying to. They scrambling up money. They're looking underneath mattresses and.
I heard about that one.
Yeah, $92 million.
92 million. They want to keep him there for a long time. At the end of this, trust your power. The letter that he wrote to himself, man, that was dope. That was an amazing way to end that. And he's at a stoplight, reaching in the bag, like, wow, I didn't even know this was in there. Looking at it, like that part was great. That part was great. All right, so final thoughts. I'm gonna kick it to HRap first.
My final thoughts is this was an excellently done program. I really appreciated the fact that they didn't make it hours; they made it 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a better way to hold people's attention.
Yeah,
that you can absorb it all, and because if you're telling a story, you don't need an hour to tell a story. You need an hour to develop a story. But if the story is already developed, you do it. Then I appreciate the way, as y'all said, you see him developing in the hip hop, and then they give you the history of hip hop. They allow us. They remembered, and people think remember means to reflect in your head, but no, they put the pieces together because his story is dismembered. Everything is all over the place. Is he black? Is he black enough? Did he care? Da 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 da.
Right.
They remembered everything about him. Robert Townsend, Ava DuVernay, Colin Kaepernick, salute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dawk.
Quite simply is that I'll just say we severely underestimate the pressures and the passions of our children. Yeah. And just quite simply put, we need to do better. And this was an illustration of that, as well as all the racial components, is that we underestimate the pressure that they under and the passions that they withhold. And we got to do better as parents.
Salute, Charlotte. I'm going to show it to my 8th grade civics social justice class. Salute to you.
Fantastic.
It's necessary. Wilks.
Pretty much kind of like what I touched on earlier. When I was watching it for that second time, there were some things that were running through my mind that I don't know why it was coming up, that it was surprising me or I was looking for the answers, but it really, when he said, trust your power, it was really, your story is not for everyone, but it's for someone. Yeah. It's definitely, look, you can put it out there if they want to read it. They want to read it. They want to study it. You can't force it on nobody. It's still gonna be your story no matter what.
Right.
And how you write that story and how people perceive that story, that's up to them. But you know what you put into that story. That, like he said, once again, I trust my power. So I had to realize, everybody's story isn't for everybody. So, but it's for somebody.
Yeah.
That was done well.
Yeah. Ava DuVernay has been putting out some classics, man. I mean, anything she touches, it's informative. It's also entertaining, and it also gets to the meat. It's not gonna be one of those where it's dancing around, just showing you the pretty sides of it. Yeah. So yeah, this was well done, and I think learning what I learned about Kaepernick, to me, explains a lot, and it gives you a backstory that I think a lot of people wanted to know. So like, if you want to know, this is it. Like, don't wait around. It's available right now on Netflix. It says limited, so I'm assuming that I don't know how long it's going to be on there, but definitely something to watch. So let's get to the rating, what we do on each show, rating it from 1 to 5 mics, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Let's go to Wilks first.
I have to give it a 5. I have to give it 5 mics because, kind of like what HRap was saying, they gave you information and then they followed it up with how that information became to be. I think it was very important for that. I think it was good to kind of lead into that segue of maybe what this episode was talking about and how we got to this point. So I'd have to say 5 mics for that one. And the music soundtrack was good too. So.
Yeah. All right, everybody that's watching, give us your rating. What would you give it? Great discussion, Charlotte. You mentioned. All right, HRap, go to you.
5.
All right, Dawk.
Yeah, it's a 5 micer for sure, and it's 5 mics for a number of reasons. Number one, because I think there's cinematic excellence in it, right? The way they shot it. I think that's very creative. I don't remember seeing a documentary, done in that fashion by the person who was involved in the story.
Right.
I thought the young kid that played Colin, I thought he did a spectacular job. Even his girlfriend that played his girl, the black chick that played his girlfriend, some of their facial expressions and things of that nature. I mean, they acted like seasoned actors, man. So I thought they did a fantastic job. The fact that it was as thought-provoking as it was, and I thought it made you feel the gamut of emotions, because again, I laughed, I cried, I thought, etc. And so, of course, it's the easiest 5, that you can imagine.
Yeah. Going into this, I was thinking 4.5, but I think after us really talking about it and breaking it down, it's a 5 because it's his life. This isn't like this is something about someone else. This is his life that he spoke. It would be different if it was somebody else talking about his life. But it was his life, and I think it was just well done and put together.
And just kind of touch on that. I felt like it also put to bed those, he just came into this. He wasn't always. He's never experienced this at the point of he's talking about the experience. I think it kind of puts that to bed.
Yeah, it was so misconceived that he just all of a sudden decided he was going to start kneeling. He was going to be this person. But there's a backstory to it. It's not you just don't wake up and all of a sudden one day.
Right.
Raider Kev says 5 mics.
There's an even bigger backstory to that kneeling thing, and that's what I know they're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely will. Oh, because you've got to talk about how it pretty much split the nation. It did. I mean, it turned it on its head. So they definitely. I can't believe they won't go back.
I'll talk about why he turned to kneeling.
Yeah, because the veteran told him.
The veteran, you're right. Well, that's what I'm saying. If they go into it, if they do another season, maybe they'll go into that or another episode.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlotte, for tuning in. We appreciate your input. Don't ever apologize about putting too many comments. We appreciate that, all the input. All right, so another show in the books, Colin in Black and White. If you have not seen it, it is available on Netflix. Coming up next week, King Richard, which I am looking forward to this. Will Smith is starring as King Richard. The nation has been split.
It's pretty good. I watched it last night. It's pretty good.
Also, the acting of that young man was great. Was that Leotard? Had the facial measurement. Yeah, I mean, that was perfect. That was perfect casting. If you look at it at the pictures of Kaepernick at that age or around that age, you look at this kid, it was pretty well done. So, all right, what's coming up tomorrow on Queen 3 and King, Dawk?
We're just going to have a light episode. It's Thanksgiving week, so we're going to talk about some funny holiday stories. So those holiday stories that we all have had. Thanksgiving is one that is popular for family arguments. So I don't think we've had any of those, but we done had some hilarious holiday stories. So it ought to be a fun episode.
I'm looking forward to that. HRap.
I got a couple things that I'm gonna talk about. One of them being audiobooks. Audiobooks, at the risk of sounding too inflammatory, is the devil. And the reason I say that is the way this country is trending with the voter suppression and things of that nature. It's easy to see them trying to bring back poll tax. And what a poll tax is, what they do is, let's use our ancestor, our great ancestor, great sister, Fannie Lou Hamer. She had to leave school when she was in sixth grade. Well, no, sixth. Yeah, I think it was sixth grade. And because she was leaving school in sixth grade, she wasn't the greatest reader in the world. So when she went to register to vote the first time, she got kicked out of her town. And then when she went to register to vote the second time, they gave her a poll tax. They told her to read portion of this Constitution and explain it to us what it was. She couldn't do it as well as they wanted her to do. So if we get accustomed to audiobooks, our brains will become atrophied. There's a certain segment of your brain that when you read, like I used to tell my son all the time, it's like the reason a book is better than a movie is not only because it goes into detail. The reason a book is better than a movie is because the movie is Dawk's point of view, the book is your point of view. And your point of view will always be better than Dawk's point of view. No matter how great Dawk's movie is, your point of view is better because they said red suit and you saw fire engine red and Dawk had it on more like a crimson or fuchsia. Right. So if we stop reading, we'll get the information, but our brains will become lazy. They will atrophy, and then they'll dominate us in that fashion. Reading is the key. When you say it to yourself, when you have this document in front of you and you say it, it becomes real. If you hear it, it's still someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
So I'm gonna talk about that. I got a few things I'm gonna talk about. 1 second. I have a special guest.
It did.
I got a special guest. I'm gonna make a correction. I made a statement last week about that that Julius Jones case. I gave a little bit of misinformation. It's not even important now because he's off death row. But I still want to make that talk about things like the dress. You know, the reason people get off in these court cases, you can just trace it directly back to the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision literally said we were inferior beings and we were good for nothing but slavery. So they didn't even see us as humans. And then another thing is how we need to be civically minded, like Charlotte's talking about. And I'm going to use a John Lewis quote. Good trouble. John Lewis used to say, I got in trouble. If he went to jail, I got in some good trouble, though. We need to figure out different ways to get into good trouble, because the John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Whitney Young, Fannie Lou Hamer trouble, as the book is, the nonviolent stuff to get you killed. That stuff protesters gonna start getting people killed. Because if you can leave northern Chicago and go into southern Wisconsin and kill somebody and go home, and you got states like Florida that made it legal to, if you feel endangered, you can run a protester over. We have to figure out another way to get into some good trouble, and I got some suggestions for it. And me and Rated Kev had a powwow. Please tune in. I said this last week, but I need y'all to please tune in again, because if me and Rated Kev have it our way, this is our last Thanksgiving. And I really think we need to do it. And I think you guys, everybody who's listening to me, I think you will appreciate me and Rated Kev's options versus the traditional option. We can still have this wonderful meal on Thursday.
Yeah.
That Friday gonna get cut the hell out. And I have another way for us to celebrate us. And I would love the feedback. I think it's necessary, and it will help galvanize the community as a whole. And religious people, I believe if they like it, they will buy in. Religious people from all sects, whether you Buddhist, Judaism, Christianity, Islamic, or whatever, if you're just spiritual, I think you can buy into what me and Rated Kev came up with.
Yeah.
And I really, really need us to do this. And it's going to be better for us. I promise y'all. What me and Rated Kev came up with, man, if we can get this off the ground, it's going to be awesome. And it would take our self-esteem from here to here.
Yeah.
Even with bad back.
And I agree. I agree with you on that. I agree with you. All right, Wilks, before we get out of here, you got anything special?
No, I'm trying to get ready for this slight menu I put together here quickly. So that's about it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, going to pull out the buttermilk chest pie recipes again, and
I may need to talk to you, buddy. See if we can add a couple extra for a fee.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be more than happy to pay the going rate.
No, you're good. No, I definitely can whip up an extra. Do
that, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll kick it to you, HRap.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
I want to steal Karen Hunter's idea and make Kwanzaa a 365-day rotation.
I heard her talk about that. I need to watch it.
It's a Kwanzaa to every day of the week.
I agree.
Start Sunday to Saturday every week.
And to Charlotte's point, celebrate Thanksgiving every day, because
right.
Hey,
that one day, the meaning. My parents did an episode about the meaning of Thanksgiving. Y'all need to watch that episode. But that alone really should push us to not celebrating that day. You can eat. You can
have a family day.
Yeah, just don't call it Thanksgiving, because that ain't what it was about.
And if you don't believe me, go to YouTube when the show ends. Look up this song by this guy Rise Kaz called "Nature of the Threat." With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to salute one of my favorite people in the universe, Reggie O'Shea, a.k.a. Combat Jack. And he would say at the end of each, God rest his soul. He's one of the ancestors. He's watching over us. That's why our show's so dope, because we pulling right off Reggie O'Shea's scrolls. And he used to end his shows by saying, dream your dream, dream those dreams, and man up, a woman up, and live those dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. Salute to the homie Craig Smith, because he says it this way: if I owe you something, I ain't got it, and if you need it, get it from God.
Right.
Peace.
Right.